Hello, everybody. Welcome. Big aloha to you all. I'm Natalie. This is Life After a Cult. This is the channel where we expose cult nonsense. We laugh about the absurdity and we hopefully unbrainwash ourselves in the process. Yes, today, what is today, y'all? It is L. Ron Hubbard's 114th birthday. Yes, it is. And what better way to celebrate that man than by fact checking some of his, legacy lies and whatnot. I've got some really interesting things in store for you all. We are going to dive into the bizarre world of cities trying and failing to honor Scientology's founder because, shocker, the public wasn't thrilled. We're going to cover the backlash and what happens when officials don't do a quick Google search before making declarations. But that's not all. Jenna Miscavige, niece of Scientology leader David Miscavige, shares her thoughts on healing after escaping a cult. And if you've ever wondered what the Encyclopedia Britannica really says about L. Ron Hubbard, we're going to look at that and some cult books that are scarier than any horror novel. And as for my gift to L. Ron Hubbard, because you're probably like, Natalie, it's L. Ron Hubbard's birthday today. What are you giving him? Oh, don't worry. I've got something special planned and I'm going to share it with you before the end of this video. For now, let's talk about our question of the day. If you have not answered it yet in the chat, and if you're on the replay, welcome. Aloha to you. I hope you answered the question of the day, which is, if you could give L. Ron Hubbard a birthday gift, what would it be? Bonus points if it's something he would hate, like a psychology degree or a fact checker. Bonus points for that. Shout out to the mods for being here and helping out today. Thank you. Members, I see you. We do have a members only live stream today, and it will be, it's crazy. I can never remember the time. Was it 4? Today is Thursday, 4 o'clock. Today, Central Time, L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. We are going to have a members only live stream. And earlier I told you all we're going to do an interview with Jenna Miscavige. We're going to do that now on Friday. We had to move some things around because people be busy. You know what I'm saying? So let's jump into some of this. And first, let's take a look at the Encyclopedia Britannica, which is now online. I don't even know if they print them anymore. Y'all remember? Put a 1 in the chat if you owned an encyclopedia set, which I feel is like a lot of maybe older Gen Xers and boomers for sure. 1 in the chat if you had encyclopedias growing up. Well, I didn't know they still existed because I'm like, well, we have, Google, Wikipedia and all this. But no, Britannica. Look at you all. Scooter Chat Mama. Look, Deanna Roz, Paula, Helen, all of you. I love it. Let's look at what they're saying about L. Ron Hubbard here. This was exciting. So let's see here. Here they talk about the organization of the church and Scientology. But if you look it up, here's the thing. Like they talk about, where is it? Controversy and present status, right? How Scientology has been long embroiled in controversy when Dianetics was introduced as a mental therapy. And that is in quotes. That is in quotes. It's not just my air quotes. Physicians and psychiatrists accuse the church of practicing medicine without a license. Church leaders in turn charge psychiatry with denying the spiritual side of man's nature. Thus began a long-term conflict with the medical and psychiatric establishment, especially the American Psychiatric Association, which centered upon the church's opposition to the use of any consciousness altering drugs and to produce such as, well, and of course, lobotomies. But I mean, it's not like people are massively down with lobotomies these days. So it goes on to even talk about their, with the IRS, the Guardian's office, what happened, other court cases. And I just think that's just a lovely thing to share on, especially on L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. I thought that was interesting. But there's more. I'm grabbing Davey because before we get into the rest, you know what we got to do. We got to wake up the Office of Special Affairs. And today is an amazing day because, again, it is L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. It is Thursday before, too. So, yeah, I'm super giddy and excited about this. David Miscavige, wake up your people. We can be really loud because it's Thursday and they're already up and at 'em. Office of Special Affairs, my lovelies. So much to cover today, but I really want to make sure that you pay attention to, let's see, these stories I got coming up here that we just need to talk about. We need to talk about it. Okay. I'm going to switch something around, Nancy. I'm going to go back to the book thing later. I'm just changing the order of sequence here. We're going to look at a video that Jenna Miscavige and I did the other day. It's on her channel on Jenna Miscavige. I am going to link it down below so you can go ahead and check it out. We had a lot of fun. It was a great conversation about therapy and healing after Scientology, occult, or trauma, and the role that therapy plays, the different types of therapy, and how there really is no one fits all. This is not the Scientology bridge to total freedom. It is not, which is a one size fits all. There's so many different types of therapy and tools to be used. And we were doing a bit of a reaction to a video. The video is called One Step Forward, Two Steps Back, the video Jenna and I did. And she pulled up some clips from a channel. I'm going blank on the guy's name now. What is it? Why? I'm going to link it down below so you guys will see it. But he was talking about this whole topic of therapy and how it's different for each person, and how, if you ruminate too much without solutions or trying to learn from it and heal from it, how that can actually also cause damage. How is his last name? Thank you so much. Lewis Howe. Thank you, Nancy. That is his name. So let's take a look at this clip. And then I'm going to share what happened after.
Growing up as a man in, I guess, the Western culture, I was never acceptable to express feelings, right? So it's kind of like an extreme of just don't acknowledge it, don't talk about it, don't express it, don't let it out. Let it out through anger or sports or some other strategy to kind of let out your emotions. And by suppressing it for so long, and not just talking about it, at least a few times, it made me feel like a lot of pressure. It made me feel like something was boiling inside of me.
That's so much too. I know I get some, sometimes you just need to vent, right? Or call a friend, but letting out some of that steam and trying to process your emotions is not something we ever did in Scientology. Definitely not growing up in Scientology for sure. These were not tools that were introduced to us.
And as I started talking about the things that were causing me emotional pain or frustration, and figuring out how to integrate the lessons of healing or release and move beyond it, I started to feel better. But if I was constantly reliving a story and feeling emotionally heightened by it, I could assume that wouldn't benefit me long term. Growing up as a man in, I guess, the Western culture.
And this was interesting to us because it is kind of how we grew up in ways, being told to suppress those emotions, that it wasn't okay, that you just need to toughen up. You just need to be tough. So let's take a look at this clip here where we discuss this.
Yeah, totally. What I was thinking when he was saying this, I was like, so all men, you need to go to therapy. That's a joke. I know, but he was like, well, because men are like raised to push down their feelings. But then when you said that, I was like, we were kind of raised like how men are in Scientology, where, we were taught to push down our feelings all the time. Mm-hmm. So we sort of have that similarity to what he's talking about.
That's very true. I myself was very distracted, but for other reasons. That is a handsome man. Look, I'm going to need a link to that video.
Yeah.
It really opened my eyes even more. You know how you kind of like, things, or you think things, but then when you actually talk about it and talk it through, especially with somebody with a shared experience, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so true. That's what these conversations are like for me, and why I love having conversations with former Scientologists, whether they were in the Sea Org or they were public Scientologists and never on staff. It is interesting because there are very commonalities in it. And when we can really identify those and see how there are real tools outside of Scientology that can help us, it is a game changer. And let's see, I got one more clip here. where we're talking about having the right tools. I still have the tools to get myself out of it. And if I'm not getting, for me, I have a whole toolbox. Like if I'm not getting myself out of it, I have like where I can phone a friend.
Mhm. I phone Natalie.
Yeah. And I phone you.
Oh my God, I'm probably sitting here talking about how rehashing isn't such a big deal. And you're probably like, you little liar, Jenna. I'm the victim of your rehashing. You're like, that's why you don't need a therapist anymore. Poor Natalie.
But that's what helps. That's the thing that was missing for us growing up in Scientology. Yeah, we were not allowed to phone a friend. You were not allowed to talk about your concerns, your issues, I mean, really your feelings. In the Sea organization, if you go to another Sea Org member and you're like, I'm just really feeling a little, just so pressured every day. No, knowledge report, just straight to the rehabilitation project force that doesn't exist anymore. It will happen fast. That is a surefire way to get there. You are not allowed. L. Ron Hubbard had a policy. It was called no case on post. And case is your active mind or your body thetans, depending on where you're at. And you're not allowed to dramatize that, as they would say. You're not allowed to have those feelings and emotions when you're working. Well, in the Sea Org, you're working all the time. So you're just not allowed. Defund, thank you. It's my birthday in Australia where I am, but it's tomorrow for you. Does it count? You bet it counts. I love your work and stuff and things. So, I love it. All right, let's do it. So this is Defunct. We're going to do a happy birthday, not for L. Ron Hubbard, but for Defunct. Where's my birthday? Here we go, everybody. Dance along.
Happy birthday to you.
Defunct.
Happy birthday to you.
Defunct.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Defunct, happy birthday to you. Thank you so much for being here with us on your birthday. I appreciate that. And thank you for that super chat as well. All right. So now we are going to get into something that I am very excited about, you guys, especially on L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. So yesterday, you might recall, if you were on the Scientology recap here, we talked about Portage, Michigan, a small town in Michigan, where Scientology decided, you know what, let's pick this small town. Let's get a proclamation for L. Ron Hubbard Day. And we talked about that yesterday. They were having a city council meeting, which was yet last night. And, controversy. And we just so happened to have the video from last night's city council meeting in Portage, Michigan, where there was a proclamation that they approved after doing a bunch of editing to it. Because let's be real, Scientology shows up and was all like, it needs to be L. Ron Hubbard Day. And we're celebrating the 75th anniversary of Dianetics, which is completely saving the planet. And it was over the top, just true Scientology style, filled with Scientology math. And the city council did push back on a bunch of it. They're like, yeah, no, we're not doing L. Ron Hubbard Day, but we will recognize the 75th anniversary of Dianetics. Well, let's take a look at what happened here. First, though, I want to share with you. So there is a Scientologist who read the proclamation. He was there representing the L. Ron Hubbard Foundation, which are the people that go around trying to get all these BS proclamations done so that at the March 13th event, which is happening this weekend in Florida and then in Los Angeles and other organizations for Scientology, I think the following Saturday, which I think is the 22nd, but they do the live birthday event that's coming up this weekend. And they're going to show all these different proclamations that Scientology has been busy trying to get done. But what happens when there's pushback from the community, even when the city is like, well, let's tone this down, but we can approve a version of it? So let's take a look. The Scientologist who he reads the proclamation, his name is what did he say his name was? Jeff Breedlove. And this is all the things he's done in Scientology. A lot. He's a trained auditor. He did an L rundown, which is a very expensive rundown in Clearwater at Flag. He's done quite a bit of Scientology, at least up through 2023 that's listed on here. So he is definitely a Scientologist. So I'm going to pull this up and we are going to watch this, and including listening to him read this declaration here. So again, this is from the Portage City Council meeting on March 11th, actually. So watch this.
Group is doing for a project, and I know that it's hard to not face the audience, but to be on TV, I need to have you at the mic.
Okay, let's move it up a little bit. There we go.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. City of Portage Proclamation, 75th anniversary, Dianetics, the modern science of mental health. Whereas in 1950, American author and humanitarian L. Ron Hubbard published Dianetics, the modern.
So again, it was edited down from what they originally wanted. So I want to make sure that you remember that. So what he's reading, they've already rehashed it. And this is the proclamation that's going to be approved, that they pretty much already, well, I guess they do it formally in that meeting. It is all kinds of extra, you guys. Oh, hold on. Oh gosh, right in the middle, like I'm right in the middle of my thing and I got to take one of these calls. Hold on, you guys. I want to mark where I'm leaving off because I messed myself up last time. I'm coming. Oh my goodness. Give me a minute. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Life After a Cult. This is Natalie. How can I help you? Oh, hold on a second, caller. Caller, make sure you're not muted, caller. Somebody might be trying to stop you. I'm going to stop. There we go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, caller. How can I help you? This is
Thanks.
Life After a Cult.
Goodness, I've been trying to get through to your lines all morning.
Oh.
I think I might be in a cult.
You think you might be in a cult? All right, let's break it down. Are you being controlled?
Well, kinda. So I had to cancel my niece's birthday party because it conflicted with these like new instruction book releases.
Okay, that's a red flag. What exactly is in these instruction books?
Well, it's where we like sit in silence for hours and then we follow these instructions to create these like 3D models of loads of different objects. It costs like a couple hundred to do it, to be honest, and they come out with new ones every month.
Whoa, okay. Do you have to give them money?
Oh my gosh, all the time. I just had to take out a loan to afford the Taj Mahal in Lego because the leader says life is like a Lego set. It's all about how you piece it together.
All right, I mean, that sounds financially reckless, but not necessarily culty. What makes you think it's a cult?
Well, I did have to swear an oath. It was called The Sacred Binding of the Bricks. We all held hands over a limited edition Hogwarts castle and repeated, "No glue shall touch these holy pieces." Oh, and if you use off-brand Lego bricks, you are a traitor.
Whoa, that is not great. Do they isolate you from family and friends?
Well, my best friend tried to visit me last week, but she knocked over my entire Modular City display, and I've not spoken to her since.
Oh boy. Do they have a charismatic leader?
Oh, yeah. He calls himself Master Builder. He wears a cape and he only speaks in Lego movie quotes. So yesterday, he made us chant, "Everything is awesome," for 45 minutes straight.
Wow, chanting for 45 minutes. Have you tried leaving?
Well, I did once, and I said I needed a break, but they said, "No, you can't leave. You're an essential piece of the set." And then they all gasped dramatically, like I had suggested mixing like Flego with Lego into an official build. It was crazy.
Wow. Well, all right, listen. I don't think you're in a cult, but you might be in an aggressively intense Lego fan club with some concerning dynamics.
Oh no, you don't think they'll come after me like if I left, right?
Well, I mean, I doubt it unless they start pelting you with tiny plastic bricks in retaliation. I mean, that would hurt.
Oh my God, I just realized I haven't stepped on a single Lego brick in like 3 years. They keep all the pieces perfectly contained, separated from each other. Is that a cult thing?
Well, that actually might be the biggest red flag yet.
Oh no, well, what do I do?
Well, first, you breathe. Second, maybe test the waters. Bring up the idea of taking a break and see how they react. And if they try to emotionally manipulate you using Lego metaphors, I'd run.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell them that I'm stepping away and I'm going to see what happens.
All right, you got this. You got this. And if they suddenly declare you a loose piece that no longer fits the structure, you know where to find me.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Natalie. I feel better already. I just hope that the Master Builder doesn't exile me to the bin of forgotten pieces.
Well, you know what? If that happens, you call me back and we will stage a Lego extraction mission. How about that?
That sounds great.
All right. Thank you, caller. Have a cult-free day.
Thank you.
Oh boy, there are all kinds. You just never know what might be a cult. And even though when people call, it's not always a cult, it's better that we know and we flush it out. We must flush it out. Okay, let me re-put myself back together here. Let's see, where was I? I was sharing the guy who's reading the proclamation. Aloha to everybody popping in and putting alohas in the chat. I appreciate that. And thank you everybody who's answering the question of the day. Just a reminder, if it is L. Ron Hubbard's birthday, if you could give L. Ron Hubbard a birthday gift, what would it be? Bonus points if it's something he would hate, like a psychology degree or a fact checker. If you were on the replay, jump in those comments as well. Okay, let's get back to the reading of the declaration. Proclamation. I wonder what the difference is. Might be the same thing. I don't know.
Modern Science of Mental Health, about a technology to alleviate unhappiness and psychosomatic illnesses and create personal freedom. And whereas this landmark work continues to relieve mental and spiritual suffering, overcome physical hardships, help individuals gain greater personal independence, and restore honesty and trust to relationships. And whereas L. Ron Hubbard wrote, I like to help others and count it as my greatest pleasure in life.
Okay, who else just threw up in their mouth a little bit when he said L. Ron Hubbard likes to help people? It's his greatest pleasure in life. I know I did, just a little.
To see a person free himself of the shadows which darken his day.
The shadows that L. Ron Hubbard tells you have. Your reactive mind. He tells you have it. Body thetans. Those are the shadows he's talking about.
And whereas the world today is in great need of ideas and solutions.
Now therefore we resolve that I, Patricia M. Randall, as mayor of the city of Portage, do hereby recognize March 13th, 2025 as the 75th anniversary of the publication of this work.
Thank you very much.
Okay, do you notice they're not celebrating it, they're acknowledging it. We'd like to acknowledge the publication. We want to acknowledge that this book came out 75 years ago. Still, they shouldn't be doing it at all, but this is very toned down from what Scientology tried to do.
All right, moving on with our agenda, we have the consent agenda. No, we have petition and statement of citizens. If anyone is here this evening that would like to come forward and address the council, now is the appropriate time. Good evening and welcome.
This is where it gets really fun.
Hi, my name is Jordan Horn. I'm a master's level psychologist in the Portage, Kalamazoo area. I've published scientific studies regarding mental health, and I'm a part-time instructor of psychology at KVCC. I oppose the city's proclamation.
An instructor of psychology. I love this.
of recognizing L. Ron Hubbard's book, Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health, because the city government is giving credence to a clearly pseudoscientific book. We should care about pseudoscientific ideas because they provide opportunity cost, whereas people may think that the government is kind of endorsing this book, and people then may choose to read this book instead of seeking adequate mental health treatment.
Which is such an amazing point that is kind of at the crux of all of this, is you're giving legitimacy to something that is not a valid form of mental health, and actually to an organization that tries to shut down valid forms of mental health.
And pseudoscientific ideas clearly cloud our critical thinking abilities. Endorsement of a pseudoscientific book creates further distrust in government at a very vulnerable time. The ideas of L. Ron Hubbard, in his original book in 1950, he says that Dianetics can, quote, treat any and all inorganic, mental, and organic psychosomatic ills with assurance of complete cure in unselected cases. According to Amazon's website of the 2007 version, they describe Dianetics as a new science. The fact is, they go on to say that there is a single source of problems and suffering. These are clear signs of pseudoscience. There is no single cause of mental health concerns nor depression. The psychological science is clear that it is a multifaceted.
Oops, I accidentally clicked out of that. Hold on a sec. I got all excited. I love too that he is making all of these points, and that, this is somebody who knows what he's talking about as well. Let me get us back there. Whoops. Okay, hold on a second here. Let me get this pulled back up. Here we go.
Describe Dianetics as a new science. The fact is, they go on to say that there is a single source of problems and suffering. These are clear signs of pseudoscience. There is no single cause of mental health concerns nor depression. The psychological science is clear that it is a multifaceted problem. We should also be thinking about using scientific reasoning skills and being aware of other indicators of pseudoscience. For example, making an exaggerated claim requires extraordinary evidence. If you're making a claim that human suffering is the result of a single phenomena, which Hubbard elaborates in his book, he needs extraordinary evidence to overcome that from what we know about psychological science. So my primary concern is that we're endorsing a book that is pseudoscience. It's not a religious book. The name science is clearly in the title, so the Scientologists should not be able to hide under religious freedom to say what they want.
Exactly. And remember, Office of Special Affairs, it is Thursday before 2. If you haven't already seen this and counted it in your statistics, I think this would fall under the negative press category. I just think it would.
If people would like to seek adequate mental health treatment, they can visit the American Psychological Association's Division 12, Society of Clinical Psychology, where scientifically based treatments are provided and listed. Same thing for Division 53, the Society of Clinical Child and Adolescent Psychology, where scientific based treatments for mental health are provided and listed. So therefore, I oppose, and I hope that the city will reconsider, and that we need to be thinking and endorsing scientifically based practices, especially regarding mental health, especially at this time in our country when we have so much suffering going on. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome.
I just, to be a fly on the wall, and just to, I just want to know what's going through the minds of the city council members. While we watch this, tell me what you think in the chat. I mean, this has got to be, I don't know, did they not Google? Did some of them know some of the truth about Scientology? But their citizens are now letting them know.
Good evening. My name is Richard Hewitt. My wife and I reside at 2732 Caloraman Avenue here in the city of Portage. We'd like to address a proclamation recognizing the 75th anniversary of L. Ron Hubbard's book, Dianetics. We're very disappointed that this proclamation has been passed. We recognize and appreciate the long history that the city of Portage has in recognizing various groups, organizations by proclamations. We hope that long tradition stands. However, we take exception to this proclamation. Recognizing Dianetics lends credibility and support to Scientology. I'm a former licensed counselor. My bachelor's degree is in sociology and social work.
Again, somebody else with a background to really be able to speak on this, somebody they should definitely be listening to. These two people spoken so far are, I mean, they have professional backgrounds that are relevant to this, and they're also local residents who vote for the city council.
My master's degree is in counseling and psychology. I'm no longer licensed, but we consider Dianetics a threat to community mental health. We stand in full agreement with our friend Jordan, and we would like to stand in opposition to this proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl. I'd rather that the Scientologist not have my last name, so I'll leave that out.
I love that. This is a woman who knows what's up. Although they'll probably find her last name. They probably already know it by now. But what are they going to do? Nothing. This is the truth.
I found out about this proclamation just about 3 hours ago by accident. I spent 2 hours walking around my neighborhood, telling my neighbors about it. They were all saying, why did we not know about this ahead of time? It flew under the radar, probably so that we wouldn't know about it. Shame on every single one of you who participated in this. I would like you to publish a list of every single one of your names and how you voted, whether or not you voted in favor of this, because the residents of Portage have a right to know. My understanding of this book is that it denies the existence of mental illness. This is an insult to everybody who has a friend or a family member who has mental illness. I've known many people over my lifetime who have mental illness, and they deserve better than this. My understanding is that there have been many mental health counselors and many medical professionals who have criticized and debunked this book. And I agree with the man who said that this leads credibility to Scientology. There's supposed to be a separation of church and state, and Scientology really is not even it's a religious cult. Shame on you that you participated in this. I would really like a list of how each and every one of you voted. And I have many neighbors who told me that they want to see that list as well. When we vote, we want to know how you're voting, because it sounds like you're not voting in the way we want you to vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I loved too that she made that point, because when it comes to city council, they are voted, right? These are voted in positions. So going and having residents there, it holds a lot of weight. And if I had to guess, there's a bit of shaking in the boots going on, because this is the truth. This is the truth about what happens.
Still an opportunity for statement of citizens if anyone would like to come forward.
I do believe that was it. So then dude comes back up. This is the Scientologist that was there representing the L. Ron Hubbard Foundation. And he decides this is a great time to get up and share my testimonial about Dianetics.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor and council members. I just want to briefly go over my story with you, which is back about 30 years ago. I was studying at Western Michigan University, and I was doing okay academically, but I didn't have any purpose in life. I was trying to figure things out in life and looking for answers, and I saw a Dianetics commercial on TV. So I went down here to Portage, to the Barnes & Noble. I walked in, and there was a big display of Dianetics books. I read it, and then I had hope. I didn't have that before, but I had some hope for life and a better life. And since then, I feel like I've improved my life. It's fulfilling, it's meaningful, and I owe it to Dianetics. So I really recommend people find out for themselves what that book is about. 25 million copies have been sold worldwide. I know hundreds of people that have benefited from it. And I really want to say my appreciation for the city of Portage and the council members for their diversity and willing to recognize different ideas and different groups. So thank you. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me.
Still an opportunity for statement of citizens if anyone would like to come forward.
And nobody came forward, and there weren't any calls. But then I thought this was interesting. Let me get this queued up here.
Content, no
Let's back it up a little bit.
people to request.
Hold on. So here's what's interesting too to me. So then they're like, okay, they felt they needed to explain how proclamations work, how these things come about, right? You can tell they're just like, hey, don't hate the player, hate the game kind of a thing. Where this person then comes and shares basically like, it just sounds like they're just trying to justify what they did.
Hundreds of people that have benefited.
No. Here we go.
Seeing no one come forward, I will ask if there are any callers on the line.
There are no callers.
All right, we normally don't do back and forth question and answer during this time, but I would like our city attorney, Ms. Catherine Kaufman, to make a statement about proclamations in the city of Portage.
So they feel the need that they got to bring in the city attorney to make a statement about this. I thought this was fantastic too.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I understand it, there is a process for people to request proclamations that is run through both the mayor and the city administration. They are reviewed. They are viewpoint and content, no content. They're content neutral, and there's no viewpoint discrimination. So any group that wants to ask for a proclamation, that would be considered. And in this particular case, it was handled. It was not content based in terms of the message, and it was a viewpoint neutral decision to bring the proclamation forward tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on with our agenda.
So they get on with their agenda after that point, but you can see there is, I don't know that if they expected that or not. And there are going to be more and more people who are residents of Portage, Michigan coming forward to say, hey, we are not down with this. And there is precedent for having it rescinded. Do you all remember? Oh, first, actually, I want to share something with you. The council did put out a response. Let's take a look at that. After this, the city of Portage has explained its process for public proclamations at city council meetings after one received more attention than usual. The proclamation signed Tuesday recognized the 75th anniversary of the publishing of L. Ron Hubbard's book, Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. Hubbard founded the Church of Scientology, and Dianetics is one of the principles included in the belief system. This is a quote. I really want to say my appreciation to Portage and the council members for their diversity and willingness to recognize different groups, the presenter of the proclamation said during his public comment, which we just heard. The book describes Dianetics as new science. They go on to say there is a single source of problems and suffering. So now they're quoting in this article the first gentleman who spoke. Who says there are clear signs of pseudoscience, one local mental health care clinician said. So I love too in this article, which is now made it onto MSN, other news organizations are picking up this story. I think I saw 3 or 4 yesterday, and I don't doubt that there's going to be more. He also says this is an insult to everybody who has a friend or family member that has mental illness. Another public commenter added, I've known many and they deserve better than this. Now, speaking with News 8 Wednesday, Portage City Manager Pat McGinnis acknowledged the city may have missed the mark on this one. Yes, you did. You missed the mark on this one. And thank you for admitting that. So the city manager goes on to say, we don't subscribe to Dianetics or Scientology or any of that doctrine, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, McGinnis said. We do understand the concern of the people that have spoken up, and we take that seriously. He added that over the course of the day, Wednesday, he spoke in person with 2 of the people who had critical comments during Tuesday night's meeting. McGinnis also defended the city's process for proclamations. Typically, a group that wants to be recognized sends in a request via email. It is sent to the city manager and city clerk for an initial check. They ask if the group can supply someone local that has ties to the proclamation to read it at the council meeting. If they do, it's typically added to the agenda and then reviewed for content. What happened in the current case is we received the request to present a very specific proclamation, McGinnis explained. We placed it on the agenda, which is a common placeholder, just to get it on there. after reading it, we decided it was a little overly committed to this particular philosophy or school of thought. So we backed off. And we know that, right? We talked about, I shared like, these are the things that they took off of it, and here are the things that stand. Comparing the text of the original draft to the published proclamation, the first version is more effusive in its praise of Hubbard. And I think this might be, this is the original one. I'm going to link this article and all of this, as per usual, down below so you guys can see what they were originally going for. McGinnis, the city manager, also clarified that the recital portions that are read by the local stakeholder are not technically part of the mayor's proclamation. There was a similar proclamation read and decried in Deltona, Florida in February and in New Jersey last year. News 8 contacted the city of Kalamazoo and city of Battle Creek to see if their city councils received a similar proclamation request. Both responded that they had not. So the city does seem to be acknowledging that they did miss the mark. But I think it's important. Most of us live in cities in the US where there is a city council in each city. Scientology does seem to be targeting small towns, and they'll do it where there's a Scientologist who can go in, who's connected to the community and the proclamation, who can read it like Jeff, what's his name, Breedlove, did in that situation. So most city councils also put all of their agendas, their minutes, and videos of their city council meetings on the internet. So you can either call your local city council or you can just go online, although that would be a lot to go through. I think it'd be quicker to call and check like, hey, I am a member, I live in your community. I'm a voter. And it's not a bad idea, in my opinion, to be proactive in helping to educate your own local city council about Scientology, the truth about it, so that they know. And they can't say they didn't know when Scientology comes a knocking, because they will. So whether you live in a small town or you live even in a larger town, if you feel so moved and you want to go speak to your local city council about this, or send an email, however you do it, not a bad idea, in my opinion, because if they haven't already been hit up, they will, because Scientology is running out. They are just running out of communities that will do this. And that's why they're going for the small towns here. Does it matter to you? Not to me. If you have to justify your actions, think about it. Yeah, very much so. I just find it fascinating. And I'm going to link down below to that article referenced Deltona, Florida. And this was last year where the mayor passed a proclamation naming March 13th as L. Ron Hubbard Day, except then he rescinded it. It had to be rescinded and canceled after a bunch of backlash from the community. So there's precedent here. Just because they pass it doesn't mean it needs to stay. And I think, again, just encouraging our local city councils so they understand, hey, keep an eye out for this. This is what Scientology does. And here is the truth about Scientology. And Nancy says same in the Toronto School Board too. Because Scientology uses their front groups, like the truth about drugs, to reach out and try and get into the schools that way. Lisa Pete says, I'm impressed that people in Portage know about the cult of Scientology. Yes. Word is getting out. Who knows? Maybe they watch these channels, right? How great would that be? Hunter Bay says, Portage is very close to Battle Creek and Kalamazoo, Michigan. I bet there are a few members there because it's an affluent community. Had to be a reason for choosing it. Yep, probably. Or they thought that they could get away with it. Or who knows? Maybe, this Jeff dude had to do this because he has to make some type of amends to Scientology. Maybe he has to do some lower conditions. This could be his effective blow. Sandy McKenna says, nothing says we didn't read the fine print like a city proclamation for Scientology. I would agree with that completely. It just does not make a lot of sense. And if you look on Scientology's website, one of their websites, this one is lronhubbard.org. It shows, right, they always have these framed, all of these proclamations over the years that they managed to push through. And they say that there's several thousand of them, recognitions and proclamations awarded to L. Ron Hubbard in acknowledgement of his contributions as an author, humanitarian, and founder of Dianetics and Scientology. So again, this is from Scientology's own website here, and it talks about some of those, but then also shows you which cities they're listing that do Dianetics Month, which is in May, and Dianetics Day. Now, I don't know if this was a one and done and they're just keeping it on the list, or that is current for, like right now. That I'm not sure. But if you look, Dianetics Month, they're saying is celebrated in Compton, California, Fairbanks, Alaska, Tucson, Arizona, Chesapeake, Virginia, and so on and so on. I'm going to link this down below so you can take a look and see if your city or state is on here. Topeka, Kansas, Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, El Paso, Texas. These are not small communities. Then they show a list of looks like states and cities that do Dianetics Day. So some of them they talked into doing an entire month, and then others a day. So again, if you are so interested and you live in these areas, you can contact your city council and question this and share information with them about the truth about Scientology and how it's a human trafficking cult. Thank you, Pause for Andrea. Natalie, I loved your conversation with Jenna yesterday. Thank you both for sharing it with all of us. Thank you. I'm so glad that you listened and you're there as well. So that is something you can check out. Now, it is L. Ron Hubbard's birthday today, but more importantly, did I just see another birthday? Darcis. We're going to go with Dar, and it is your birthday and not L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. So you get a happy birthday and aloha for Dar.
Happy birthday
Darcy.
to you.
Darcy.
Happy birthday to you.
Darcy.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Darcy.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you, and thank you so much for being here with us. And we much rather celebrate your birthday than L. Ron Hubbard's. So thank you for jumping in. So it is, like I was saying, today is a huge day in the world of Scientology. It is Thursday before 2 on L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. And expansion is the gift that Scientologists are supposed to give L. Ron Hubbard. We're going to talk about my gift in just a little bit. But if you take a look at, I thought, you know what am I? Obviously, I'm jaded and biased, right? But it's the truth. It is the truth. I speak the truth about Scientology. I want you guys to look at something because I was like, okay, well, what are they like? What expansion, right? Like, are they making, did they get 10,000 people to the state of clear this year? Did they deliver 20,000 hours of marriage counseling and help people salvage their relationships? Like, what is the expansion that they're bragging about? So I went to Scientology's own website and thought, you know what? I'll get it from the horse's mouth. Scientology unparalleled growth since 2004. Now, I do believe that, because first I was like, what's 2000 since 2004? That's random. I think 2004, and if anybody, if you think I have it wrong, let me know. I think that's when the Ideal Organization program started. When David Miscavige and team was like, oh my gosh, you know what? Let's get Scientologists to pay for the buildings. We will own it. Then we'll make those local orgs pay us rent and we'll have billions of dollars in real estate, right? So what is the expansion that Scientology is doing for L. Ron Hubbard on his birthday, right? Are they freeing people? Bunch of body thetans? Let's take a look. This is their unparalleled growth since 2004. Again, this is from Scientologynews.org. Overall expansion, total assets and property holdings of the cult. Okay, I got to say cult. I know it says church on here, just so you guys know, but I said church too many times already today, and I cannot anymore. Total assets and property holdings of the cult of Scientology internationally have more than doubled since 2004. The combined size of cult premises increased from nearly 5.6 million square feet in 2004 to 12.1 square feet in 2010. The cult has acquired more than 70 buildings since 2004 in major population centers around the world, and the cult has completed over 400,000 square feet of renovations of new premises this year alone. In addition, currently under construction are over 250,000 square feet with 11,000 churches, missions, affiliated groups, blah, 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 blah. So then there's this last one. The number of people newly introduced to Scientology and starting on training or counseling per week exceeds 26 times any previous week in history. You notice they're not actually giving you the specific dates, right? They're not like what week? Like, what are you talking about? And all of their expansion is buildings, is real estate. Now, if you were running a, I don't know, a real estate brokerage or something like that, or you were a land development company, some type of investment company, you might be like, yeah, look at what we did. We acquired all of this. This is what they're saying their major expansion is. For L. Ron Hubbard's birthday, this church/cult has expanded their real estate holdings. This is the big, overwhelming expansion in Scientology. And this is the problem for many people still in Scientology. Even people who are not under the radar, which is what we refer to people who kind of have one foot out the door, but for family connections or other reasons, they're not ready to leave or make it known to Scientology. Not just them, even everyday Scientologists on their best day have disagreements with the amount of money, the financial demands that are put on them. And now here you got Scientology bragging about all of this real estate, nothing about actually helping people except that one last line that was like something is 26 times the previous week. And if you carry the 5, and it's all kinds of mental gymnastics and Scientology math that just does not add up. It doesn't. And I find it very interesting that this is their focus. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to hide it. This is their focus. Asen says expansion of wasting the money they conned out of vulnerable people. Yep. Sandy McKenna says, despite billions in real estate, empty orgs, and fewer active members suggests it's a dying organization propped up by wealthy donors. That is very accurate. That is the state of Scientology on this L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. Now, let's take a little look at the Religious Technology Center because we've been talking about them a lot lately. We talked about them the other day and their appeal in the Leah Remini case. And Scientology is trying to make an argument that Religious Technology Center is completely separate from the Church of Scientology International and does not run the day-to-day things, right? That's what they're trying to say. But anyone who was actually in the Sea Org and even people who weren't, know that's just not true. That is just not true. So what Scientology will tell you about this Religious Technology Center, I wanted to share this with you, and then I'm going to translate this into what it really means. So Scientology says the Religious Technology Center is a nonprofit religious organization formed in 1982 to preserve, maintain, and protect the Scientology religion. RTC holds the ultimate ecclesiastical authority for the standard and pure application of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard's religious technologies. RTC is not part of the management structure of the church and is not involved in its day-to-day affairs. Okay, first off, why you got to put that on your website? Why you got to call it out? Because you're lying. That's why. You lying. Holder of the Dianetics and Scientology trademarks and service marks, RTC sees that the Scientology religious technologies are ministered in exact accordance with the scriptures and are not altered by misappropriation or improper use. Now, I want to point out here, Scientology is trying to paint this narrative that RTC, Religious Technology Center, and David Miscavige has nothing to do with running day-to-day Scientology or any of the harassment that has gone on that Leah Remini has shared and other people, let's be honest. But they say right here that RTC sees that the Scientology religious technologies are ministered in exact accordance with the scriptures and are not altered by misappropriation or improper use. Well, fair game is a policy in Scientology. There are abusive practices like disconnection. So if RTC ensures the technology is being correctly applied, then are you not then promoting and advocating for the abusive practices in Scientology and the ones that lead to harassment? I say yes. While each Scientology organization, and indeed every Scientologist, is expected to ensure that standard application of Scientology scriptures, oh God, when they use the word scriptures, it kind of makes me want to vomit in my mouth too. Every Scientologist is expected to ensure the standard application of Scientology scriptures. RTC is the final arbiter of orthodoxy. Mr. David Miscavige is chairman of the board of the Religious Technology Center. So this is what they're saying. This is what they're calling out on their own website. And then I thought, you know what? This is what I think they're really trying to say. So I'm going to share with you my translation of that. And it goes like this. The Religious Technology Center, keeping the Scientology brand untarnished since 1982. Imagine if the copyright police and the thought police had a baby. That's RTC. This nonprofit, and I say that with air quotes in case you're in the car, was created to make sure that L. Ron Hubbard's totally not sci-fi inspired, 100% serious religious technology stays pure and untainted. Their job? Making sure nobody colors outside the Scientology lines. They don't run the church, allegedly, and they have nothing to do with the day-to-day money collection operations, they swear. But they do own all the trademarks and will definitely come for you if you try to freelance your way onto the operating Thetan levels. If you're a Scientologist, you're technically supposed to keep everything standard. But just in case you get any wild ideas about freedom of thought, RTC is there as the ultimate decider of what LRH really meant, because nothing says spiritual enlightenment like strict corporate branding. This is what I think they really meant when they put out that statement about what RTC is. I mean, that is pretty much the truth about it. So I just find it interesting that you call it out on the website. And I think that that is a little odd, but okay. Now let's get to my gift for L. Ron Hubbard, because every year when I was a good little Scientologist, we would all have expansion on our statistics, or at least we thought they did, right? And I thought, well, in the spirit of that, right, I want to share my expansion and my gift to L. Ron Hubbard. I did make a few notes here. My birthday present to L. Ron Hubbard, Office of Special Affairs, on this March 13th, okay? This is an urgent announcement for the Office of Special Affairs, in case you were wondering. And this is directly from the Life After a Cult Expansion Department. The suppressive statistics are in, and they are straight up and vertical, unlike the Bridge to Total Freedom, which remains suspiciously empty. Here at Life After a Cult, we have cumulatively had 5.8 million views. That's more people than have ever willingly walked into a Scientology ideal org, even if you count their body thetans. We've had 1.8 million watch hours. 1.8 million hours of watch time of content here on this channel since we started back in December of 2023. That's the equivalent of someone watching Scientology recruitment videos nonstop for 205 years, except people enjoy my videos better. Now, we also have 21,100 subscribers. That's 21,100 more people than Miscavige has ever let speak freely. So with powerful dissemination, high-toned content, and absolutely zero mandatory donations, we are clearing the internet one sarcastic cult breakdown at a time. Stats are up. Don't be a down stat. Like the video, subscribe. Those stats are aloha. That's right, Kim is blue. And that is my gift for L. Ron Hubbard on his birthday today. From all of us to you, Ron. Expansion, straight up and vertical. This is what it looks like, Office of Special Affairs. And it's being done with a huge community of people never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult. And we know how much you don't like that. So let's see. Let's talk about a little bit of this question of the day. If you could give L. Ron Hubbard a birthday gift, what would it be? Janet Burns says it would have to be a subscription to Audible with the biographies of all ex-Scientologists already uploaded, plus Rick Allen Ross's book, a copy of Going Clear, so he can see how David Miscavige is running. Running Scientology, I'm assuming. That's a really funny thought, actually. Abigail says, setting up an appointment and giving a gift card to pay for a therapist. That would be a good gift for L. Ron Hubbard. Pamela says, a 72-hour psych hold, aka 5150. That would be your gift for L. Ron Hubbard, and I absolutely love that. Linda Lou says, a lobotomy. You would hate that. Nancy says, I would give him a dentist and an orthodontist gift card for $50. Northern Girl says, a gift basket of deodorized products, soap, deodorant, etc. Oh, and toothpaste. Yeah, deodorized, because you can't have, scented products in the Sea Org, because L. Ron Hubbard said so. L. Ron Hubbard said so. Hermie says, I would give L. Ron Hubbard a kick in the behind. Fish Mom 2011 says, I would give L. Ron Hubbard a copy of Carrie Fisher's TV special where she praises her experience with electroconvulsive therapy and a gift card for a trial session of ECT so he can try it. Julia O'Connell says, LRH's birthday give would be a big pile of poop. Arkansas Flamingo says, lavender fabric softener. Itchy Thayton said, oh, a pride flag. Definitely a pride flag. Cats and Flowers, Gain fabric softener. It's interesting, all the cleaning products, but you guys are right. You can't have any of that in the Sea Org. No scented products. So forget about the dryer sheets. Sassy Dad Mike says, a kilo of LSD. Honestly, he'd probably like it. Scooter Chat Mama, forced dental and a lifetime of mental health treatment. I think he would like that. Northern Girl would give L. Ron Hubbard a reality check. VGI says, an F meter. F equals fact. Alda says a course of 10 therapy sessions. You guys are so thoughtful in your gifts for L. Ron Hubbard on his birthday today. A Sweet Goth says a gifted membership to both Life After a Cult and Growing Up in Scientology channels. That's a good one. Anna says a lifelong subscription to Psychology Today. Swedish Andrea says a toothbrush. I would give him a toothbrush. Let's see. Sandy McKenna says a magic 8-ball. Because let's be honest, that's how he came up with most of Scientology doctrine. That's so true. Cats, Bats, and Flowers said, I would give L. Ron Hubbard on his birthday a gift certificate to a local dispensary. Might help him chill out. I mean, he took, my God, what was he on again? I always forget the name of the drug. When he was doing the upper level, starts with a P, maybe, causes your mind to like break apart. Bina says, I would give L. Ron Hubbard David Miscavige on a plate. Power Lies to Paralyze. I'm with Xenu t-shirt with an arrow pointing up. Always Tucks and Roll says a copy of Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief. She give it to him in book form, in Kindle form, and even on Audible. James Steele says, I will give L. Ron Hubbard an appointment with a dental hygienist and dental surgeon for his birthday. I think he might appreciate that. You know what's crazy is they had a dentist in the Sea Org at the international base at one point. Was it after L. Ron Hubbard? I mean, why didn't he avail himself? He had all that money. It's not like he couldn't afford to go to the dentist. I never quite understood why he allowed himself to have such bad teeth, even though Way to Happiness talks about taking care of your teeth. And there he was not doing that. Sweet Elizabeth says, I would give L. Ron Hubbard on his birthday a date with Xenu in one of the volcanoes. Robin says the bunk bed on top of Danny Masterson. Robin, good one. Catherine says, I would give him a lifetime supply of Thorazine. He'd like it. He'd like it. Oh, and Asen agrees with me. The earlier video with Lewis Howes. Yeah, that is a really handsome man. It was distracting, actually. Victoria says, a check for LRH's birthday, a reality check, and I would pay for an appointment with a psychiatrist. I love the gift of therapy for him, y'all. Incarnasol says, I would give L. Ron Hubbard a big bottle of Listerine. Sandy McKenna says, a plush e-meter, soft, squishy, and just as effective as the real one. Lady Victoria says, for your birthday, L. Ron Hubbard, I got you this book burning party of all Scientology books. Hunter Bay says, I'm giving him a good brain scrub. Oh my gosh. Fire and Ice, a one-way ticket to Tegiak, which is what, he said Earth was called way back when the galactic overlord Xenu was rounding up people to drop them in volcanoes over here. Linda Lou says, locked in a human-sized crate so he cannot escape while Rick Allen Ross deprograms him. Oh my gosh, Linda Lou, that's a good one. A deprogramming with Rick Allen Ross would make for a really good birthday present. Squirrel SPTV, it was a Lego. It was, I think, a giant Lego piece, a Lego phone that she was holding, that Kelly Copter was holding. Lisa Pete says, an all expenses paid trip to the RPF, all meals included. Oh my gosh. Sharona says, a mobile porta potty. Cheryl says, a set of dentures. Squirrel SPTV, a pile of poop. These are fabulous, you guys. These are fantastic. Keep them coming, because if I don't get to them all, I like to go read them afterwards. Zippy's going to do 6 free sessions with a psychiatrist to learn how to stop smoking. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. These are fantastic. Please be sure today to like this video, hit that subscribe. That is the best possible gift you can give to L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology today. Members, we got a members only live stream coming up today at 4 o'clock. So I think that's the housekeeping I have for you all. Most importantly, I hope everybody on this L. Ron Hubbard birthday gets out and has an amazing cult-free day.